Alright, carrying on from the item use, now we'll set up a weapon. For the weapon, I have imported this pack. It's a free little low poly weapon pack. I'll leave a link down in the description. But first, I will need to go and actually set up a weapon. So in my weapons folder, I'll just right click, create a child blueprint class of my base. This will be my first sword, so I'm just going to call it a dull sword. Open it up. And set its static mesh to be the sword. Now hop over to my player and open him up just to check that hand socket, the other one. This socket, just check, see how it looks with that sword. We can tell him to use a specific animation, and we'll see how it looks with the attack. A little rough, so we'll need to, for the sword, bring it up a little bit. So we'll do, that's gonna be too much. So instead of adding a new socket, we'll just kind of rotate the sword to fit what we need. And it's gonna rotate 90 degrees, looks like. And our interaction, save everything real quick. I don't think I've added the item ID for it yet, have I? Of course not. So I'll update this in a bit. I'm just gonna use one of these existing ones so we can go ahead and not have to do the closing opening thing. So I'm just gonna use garlic. This is now my garlic sword. It is a weapon. Just gonna call it the dull sword here. For the picture, I'll just use this for now. Alright, stack 1, max stack 1. Effectiveness, so I want it to do between 2 and 4 damage. The use animation, I'm going to use this one, but I'll duplicate it so that we can have one that's specifically for this, and then dull sword. So I can go into my weapon, set its item info to be garlic for now. And then when I drag it out, I should be able to pick it up. And yeah, so it's got a thing there, but it's not spawning. So let's take a look at our spawn. Oh, and that's because we don't have anything set up to do that for the weapon. So really, we could feed this, instead of copying all this, what I'll do is I'll feed this down to here. And right here at the cast to base tool, since it's not a base tool, it's a base weapon, it'll probably fail. So we'll go cast to base weapon and plug in our spawned item here. And then promote this to a variable called our weapon ref. And we will then go ahead and just copy all this. Well, not that. If it's a, if it's a weapon, I don't want that interact box. So I'll just copy this, paste it here. And then this goes here, get rid of that, snap to target, make sure that it is our hand R socket. And then instead of having to redo everything, we can just adjust it based on where that cast will fail. So now we got our sword, but we can't swing it just yet because it registers as a weapon. But it does look like, let me zoom in a little bit. It looks like that up 10 units. It looks like it grips well. And yeah, so that's good. But now we can go to our use item function over here. And we're going to do very similarly, but we're going to get our weapon reference first and convert that to ability to get. Then we'll get the item info. We're going to go ahead and just split this off. So grab everything for our tool, right click, and collapse to function. Collapse to function failed. Why did that fail? Play montage cannot be placed. Oh. Wait, I played montages in. I've played montages in event graphs before, haven't I? Oh, it's that one. Okay, so we can't access all the split differences. Okay, well, in that case, we'll just do this. We'll compartmentalize. Custom event. Use tool. Just like that. Disconnect that first one. And then over here on the tool, we will use tool. Then we'll do the same basic thing with this one so that we can have our primary item use and then our subsection of use tool, use weapon, use blah, blah, blah. But we're going to go ahead and set it up right here first. So break the item info. Play montage. Ignore me while I check notes. Grab our mesh for the skeletal mesh, our use animation for here. And then for this one, we will set it to be is active right here also. But we're going to refresh it on the actual, instead of having to wait till the full animation is done playing. We'll do a switch on name just like we did on the other. This one will have two. So this will have a hit, and it will have a release, I guess. And when we release is when you're no longer active and you can swing again. Don't need that default pin. And for our hit, we'll set up a function to be our weapon hit check. I call it weapon hit check because we're also going to need a tool hit check later on to see if we're swinging the axe at a tree, what it does, and all that. So we'll just use our weapon hit, grab our weapon reference. We're going to do a sphere trace by channel. We'll get the actor location of our actual character for the start. Get actor forward vector so we know which direction we're facing. We will add from our start location the forward vector multiplied by a float to be our range. And I'm going to set this to like 125. Each weapon can have a different range. If you got long swords, short swords, just go to your weapon base and add a weapon range. In fact, let me just show you. Just go in here to your base weapon. You can add a variable to be a float of a weapon range. I guess, let's see. Weapon range, float, compile, back to the player. And then from your weapon reference, you can get weapon range. Plug that in. Make sure you do give it a default. So right now it's at 0, so it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to base them all to be 125, and then we can alter later on. And then that will be our endpoint. Our radius can be 45. We'll break the hit result, add a branch to see if we do have a hit. And if we do, then we want to see if the hit actor is valid with this question mark. And if it is, then we will apply damage. For now, it'll just be a generic 5, but we will go back later on and add in a calculate damage function that will take our character's strength, their proficiency with swords, and the sword damage itself, and kind of run them all together with an algorithm to get an actual base damage amount. For right now, 5 will be fine, though. Back out in our event graph, when we find our hit notify, we'll just call that weapon hit. Now, we don't actually have that yet, because we don't actually have that montage setup. So let's go to our animations, farmer, and where we set up our chop, we can duplicate that. mt underscore player stored hit. So right about here is where they would be doing damage, so I'll call this the hit now. And right here, maybe a little bit later on, right click, add notify, and this will be our release so that we can go back to swinging our weapon. So let's pick it up now. It won't let me swing it again, so release is active, notify begin. So if equals blank, should be going fine. Use tool, montage to play is active. Release sets is active back to false. Why you no do like you supposed to do? Swing it once, works out. Swing it again, cannot. Interesting. Okay. So hit, release, 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 capitalized on both. Capitalized on both. Should be set in is active back to false, so or is active equals blank. So it should equal garlic. And I should be able to check here somehow. I apologize. Let me just, it should be working fine. And swing it once. Alright, I will be right back, and I will let you know the fix. I figured out the issue. It's because I didn't update the stupid montage. Horribly blonde moment. Swing. There we go. So that was the problem. It was registering the animation, but it was never hitting that point of actually saying it was released. So now we can swing that. And let us go and set our weapon hit check. We'll set the draw debug to for duration just to make sure that it's calling that appropriately. Might be a bit much, but since it's such a low poly game, we want to add in a little bit of cushion to make sure that you want to balance the gameplay and the difficulty with ease of engagement. So it might seem like it's far away, but at this range, it'd probably be kind of hard to tell for the player. So a little bit of cushion makes it a little bit maybe more player friendly. All right. I can get rid of that now. Print strings come really in handy. I figured out that it wasn't calling this actual thing because I used the print string at the end, and that's what made me realize, oh right, wrong montage, dummy. So, all right, so now we got our sword in, and you can just kind of recreate the process for as many swords as you got. And we'll save everything real quick. I will update all this. Haven't gotten around to it yet. Had a little bit of stuff going on. So, typical. But I'll get that updated. And let's go ahead and compartmentalize this. And this one was kind of short, so we'll do some of our cleanup right now. So, custom event, swing weapon, do that here. And then over here we can call our swing weapon. I'm not going to comment this out yet, but for these, I will go ahead and weapon use, tool use, put them right there side by side. This will be the one we're still working on. So this is our adjust item index for our inventory. And this is our add item to slot. So we'll set this up here and this over by it. Come on now. And then we'll just comment these out to be inventory management. Let's see, this is our grid checker update thingy. Grid update. And since that goes with our hotbar kind of thing, I'll just set it right here beside it. It's the add item. This can also go up in our inventory management. So I'll just right here in the corner, grab all this, move it over a little bit. What is this? All right. Let's see, menu widget. And I'll drag this right here because it's kind of UI related also. Let's see, what is this? Interact. And this will get its own little interact base. And it can just sit right there. And then this is the one we are currently working on, so we'll know when we see it. This is our begin play stuff, so the character initialize. I think I'm spelling that wrong. Initialize, right? I think that's how it's spelled. You can add spaces to these, I just rarely do. I don't know why. And this is our movement input, so that can just go at the bottom and stay gray. And now that's a little bit more cleaned up, and we got this going. So in the next one, we will start working on our player's stats so that we can set up our health and stamina and our actual damage. So we'll set that into a component of its own. So yeah, I will see you all there. Bye.